hãy nhớ tháng 11 cùng nhau bầu cho Tổng thống Trump.
Donald Trump,
Người xứng đáng cho chúng ta trao lá phiếu bầu.
Donald Trump.
US
Another Trump supporter has made the news because they regret their vote. This just goes to show that the abuse has to hit you personally before you have any regrets. Pictured here is Sarah Baruth with her unnamed partner and father of her eldest child, who now faces deportation because she voted for Trump. We can continue to talk about how the Trump administration is going after families of color and mixed families as well, looking to divide them. We can continue to talk about how they continue to violate the constitutional rights of immigrants, both legal and illegal, as they all have a right to due process. But what we're missing here is that the United States is very different from other countries in the past who were faced with the prospect of revolution. Things have to get bad for everybody, bad enough so that they can think about revolting against their government. The issue here is that the majority of the people in this country look like Sarah Baruth and are unaffected by Trump's policies, unless, of course, they are with someone who can be affected by his policies. And in her case, she faces the likelihood of having to raise her child without a father, and this is due to her selfish vote. A lot of Trump supporters do not see the people that they are affecting unless somehow some of these people are close to them. And this is not the kind of country we should want to live in, where an administration is flagrantly violating the constitutional rights of even US citizens now. But this is what you voted for. The time for regret is long gone.
Hello, and welcome to another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how Asians are regretting their vote. But also, we're going to be talking about the influence of Black people, okay, in the Asian and Latino vote. And also an explanation of how the civil rights movement in the United States influence, okay, how the other minorities, Latino, Hispanic, gay, Asians, how they had their rights because of the civil rights movement, and how the black people have influence in the other rights of other minorities here have in the United States. Asians regretting their vote after voting for Trump. And we're also going to talk, because we're going to talk about that, we also have to talk about colonization. Okay, remember some of those Asian countries, they were colonized, okay? Some of them, like China, they were colonized by the British. Some of them, like the Philippines, they were colonized by the Spain. Okay, they all suffer the effects of the colonization by the white people, and how in their desire to appeal or be more white-like, they may be voted against their own interests. Okay, this video is gonna be really interesting because it's gonna talk about the Latinos, how the Latino population maybe in certain way, because of the effect of colonization, it has certain resentment towards Black people, okay, or Black American. And I feel really identified with this video because I'm a Black Latino and African Latino. So so we want to talk about that too. And this video is gonna be, I prepared with so much love for you, so stay towards the end. And yes, please subscribe, giving a like to this video. And let me tell you, the MAGA media and the conservative media, they grow like crazy. So help us, help the liberal media, help me to grow also like the conservative are growing. Which, please subscribe to this channel and give a like to this video. That will help me a lot for I can for this video can reach more people. And just stay towards the end, because this is gonna get really interesting.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. But the problem is our communities are divided. For Asian Americans and for African Americans, we probably have one of the worst relationships between any community.
Well, I bet you a lot of Asian Americans too don't, in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
Thank you. What I have been trying to teach the Asian community is like, friends, do you understand that your success, your prosperity, your civil rights that you enjoy right now was paid for with black blood?
So, a lot of people are talking about the Latino community who voted for Donald Trump. But what people are not talking about are the Asian and Filipino community who voted for Donald Trump. Now, if you really look at it, Asians and Filipinos come from conservative backgrounds. Donald Trump is a conservative president, so there's already that they can relate to him because of that. But there has to be another reason why so many Asians and Filipinos voted for him. But I may be wrong because I haven't seen any numbers regarding, how many Asian, how many Japanese, Chinese, Filipinos, Vietnamese, how many, the percentage of those people who voted for Donald Trump. So, since everybody's talking about immigration and Trump's immigration policy, the Asian community and Filipino community are going to be affected by this. However this immigration policy turns out, comes January 20th, 2025, the Asian and Filipinos who voted for Donald Trump, they could be affected by his immigration policy. And to everybody watching this video, feel free to chime in. I'm willing to have this conversation with you because nobody is talking about the Asians and Filipino voters who supported Trump in this election. And I'm really, this is something we really need to look into, Just people, let's talk.
I'm gonna take a sip of my morning coffee before I say what I'm about to say. You know what? Who cares? What the hell is wrong with Latinos? What the hell is wrong with us as a whole? Like, seriously, we need to start talking about this. It first started with over half of us, 60% to be exact, voting for the orange tyrant, voting against our own people, our own interests, and we're seeing how that is playing out. You know what? We're not going there. Then the Latinos had the caucasity to go on Beyonce's internet, attacking black people for not rioting in the streets like they were doing during the Black Lives Matter movement on our behalf, when it was the consequences of our own actions that got us here in the first place. Like, how are the caucasity? Like, seriously, that is caucasousness. And to add insult to injury, there are Latinos going on Beyonce's internet, attacking Sinners, Ryan Coogler's masterpiece, because there wasn't Latino representation. First of all, don't come for Ryan Coogler, okay? Because while Latino people are just bending the knee and kissing and licking boots just to get invited into the room, let alone a seat at the table, Ryan Coogler was like, F that table, I'm gonna make my own table. Beyonce was like, F that table, I'm gonna make my own table. And they now are inviting their own people to these tables for these opportunities. And you have the caucasity, because that's what it is. Y'all acting like the white people that they want to be so damn bad to be accepted by so damn bad because there's not Latino representation. Y'all are confusing representation with the showcase that was Sinners, the history lesson that was Sinners. Like, it's not the same. What makes me so sad is, when did Latino people become like this? When did the orgullo, the pride, dissipate into thin air? Like, when are we so accepting of bare minimum, a little cameo in the movie, or just like invited to their spaces that they don't even want us in. Like, when did, like, we need to have a talk. We are not okay as Latino people. As a Black Mexican American, okay, so I'm both. Can Black people just not have their moment? Can Black people just not have all the flowers that they're given right now? Because make no mistake, what is happening amongst Hollywood and the entertainment industry in regards to Black people bulldozing these doors open and creating their own lanes and creating their own spaces, it's beautiful. It is, man, I'm getting goosebumps because I am so damn proud to be Black. You know, I'm so damn proud to be the other, you know, like and then you have Latino people coming in here trying to ride on the coattails. It's like, create your own damn freaking lane. Some Dusty on TikTok want to compare Sinners to From Dusk Till Dawn, which, make no mistake, From Dusk Till Dawn is an iconic movie. One of the baddest women to ever grace the earth was in that movie, Miss Salma Hayek, who created a scene that is so iconic, and I understand that, but how can you compare the two? I'm not getting the correlations, because From Dusk Till Dawn was representation. You just had Latino people in there, but there was no history lesson. There was no displaying our culture so beautifully like Sinners was. You know what I mean? It's like, when did we get like this? Why are we all of a sudden like this in droves? Because like I said, it wasn't even half. It's not half and half. It was over half of us. You know, it all started with the election that kind of put it on display, right? But
Let's talk about cell phone plans. Can't believe I'm actually using that as the hook. But seriously, Google Fi Wireless has this fast online setup.
my gaster is flabbered. I just don't know what to say anymore. I don't know how we got like this, and we need to stop. We need to freaking stop and get out of the way, because this is Black creators, Black directors, Black musicians' time to shine. You know, Black actors. Like, this is their moment. We don't need to try again to attach ourselves and hoping that they, you know, maybe create a lane for. No, we can do that for ourselves. We can do that for ourselves, and we have been. Why are Latino people acting like we're not creating spaces and, you know, creating our own lanes? And there's so many Latinos in the entertainment industry that are doing this for us as well. Like, I don't get it. Now I'm gonna have my sip of coffee, because I'm done.
Anti-Blackness that exists in the Latino community, because it's a real thing. And it is only further perpetuating the division between our two communities and contributing to the overall oppression of our two communities. And I know there's going to be some people out there that's like, that's not even a thing, that's not a real issue, but it is. I grew up hearing freaking racist remarks made towards Black people, and I heard it often. And I know so many other people did. And not only is it about anti-Blackness, it's also about internalized racism that some Latinos, including myself when I was a child, felt the need to be white because I saw white people being treated better. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm white, or if I consider myself white, or if I tell people that I'm white, then I am going to be treated better. I didn't understand as a child why I even felt that, but we are socialized as a society to want that, unless you break out of the freaking matrix and you realize, oh my gosh, we're all being oppressed by the same freaking systems. So for us to have division and for there to be anti-Blackness in our community is not helping anyone. One, it's just wrong, but two, it's only further perpetuating the oppression that already exists in our freaking society. So there's that part. And then there's this whole dismissal of Afro-Latinos, because Afro-Latinos exist, yet sometimes are classified as not Latino, when in reality, they are Latinos. Afro-Latinos. And then there's this whole freaking connection to where we find ourselves in American history, okay? And the fact that many people, many Latinos, Latino men in particular, did not want to vote for a Black and Asian, but a Black woman, okay? And then there's the intersection of machismo, internalized racism, anti-Blackness, and all of it contributing again to the further perpetuation of oppression of our communities. That's what I need people to understand. When there's division between our two communities that is that is purposeful, okay? Because these systems, these people in power want us to be infighting, when in reality, there's a lot more that we have in common. We are also being oppressed by the same systems. We should be supporting each other. And it is because of Black people and their advocacy that we, as Latinos and other communities, have the civil rights that we have today. The ability for us to even be able to have that privilege was in large due part to Black people, okay? So I need us to understand that. And I need us to have a conversation about that, because even if we were brought up that way, that doesn't mean that we can't change. That doesn't mean that we can't do better, because we can. Okay? Even if society socializes us to believe that, we can change, we can do better. So if you want to have this conversation, follow for more.
Yes, if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, like he say, Latinos and Asian wouldn't have the privilege that they have. And my dad was here in the United States in the time of civil rights movement. He was in Washington D.C. actually. He was getting trained, okay, for be a police officer at that time. Well, not here in the United States. He was here, but I am from Venezuela, so he was just getting trained here for come back to Venezuela and be a police officer there. He was already a police officer, so it was like a special training. And he say, in the banks, okay, when you go to the banks, because this was in the time of the civil rights movement, okay, in the banks, on the fire station, we don't accept, or we don't give service to Puerto Ricans, okay. It was against Latino, Black people, or people of color. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. If it wasn't for the civil rights movement, we still will have those signs saying that we cannot give service to Puerto Ricans or colored people or things like that, because it used to be even in New York, or they deny service to Irish people, or it was all kinds of things like that. Thank you for the civil rights movement. They can no longer be like openly racist, okay? They can no longer deny service because you just lose certain color, or because you are from certain origins, because it was a discrimination against even white people. There was the Irish, there was against the Irish, there was against other people. So thank you for the Black people and the civil rights movement. We all have the rights that we have right now, and it is time for also Asians and Latino to recognize that. And he just say it clearly.
But I want to know how it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to deport all illegal immigrants, if you were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive. Is that so strange? We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore.
I grew up in this country as a minority, as the children of immigrants. I was their first child born in America. And while I didn't have much possession or didn't much control, I really enjoyed myself. And I think that if you ask a lot of Americans, they would say that I had a lot to offer this country. You know, according to you, I guess I would be perpetuating the dispossession of white America.
That is true. That is true.
Would you say that you wouldn't want me in this country?
At some point, when my ancestors built this nation, they did not build it with the intention of giving it away to Mexicans or Chinese or Haitians or to anyone else.
Do you consider, you keep saying your ancestors built this country, you consider that a fact?
Who else built it?
Black people, Native Americans, Chinese people who came and built the railroads.
Do you think none of that could have been
Italian
achieved?
people?
But they're Europeans, aren't they?
Okay, so let's talk about it. Because I'm kind of seeing a pattern that's hard to ignore. And it's time we talk about it, honestly. If you do have comments for this video, make sure you keep them respectful, not just to me, but to everybody else too. We can't afford to continue to be divisive. So why do some Latinos vote for Trump? Why do those people align themselves with whiteness even when it works directly against them? And why, in doing so, do they often turn their backs on Black people? Let's start with this. Not all Latinos are anti-Black. Not all Latinos voted for Trump. That's fact. But when we talk about patterns, we're talking about systems. We're talking about something that didn't start here. It started way back. See, Latin America didn't escape colonization. It was built on it. Spanish and Portuguese colonizers created rigid racial caste systems, where of course whiteness was at the top and Blackness, especially of African descent, was at the bottom. And as sad as it is to say, that mentality largely has never left. In fact, many Latin American countries, anti-Blackness isn't just cultural, it's institutional. In school systems, beauty standards, marriage expectations, even immigration policies. Now, if we fast forward to life in the US, here you have entire generations of Latino families, many of whom were taught that the closer you are to whiteness, the safer that you end up being. Lighter skin, a passport. European ancestry, a flex. And Blackness, still associated with poverty, danger, and rebellion, which is everything that white supremacy tells you to fear. So when someone like Trump comes along, and he's loud, nationalistic, racist, anti-immigrant, you'd think that Latinos would run the other way, right? But here's what we saw. For those who've internalized anti-Blackness, Trump represents order, power, a place to hide. And if your survival has always been tied to not being Black, you'll throw us under the bus just to get a seat on it. And we all know it's not about politics, it's about identity. Because many Latinos their whole lives have been told that if they align themselves with Blackness, it's an automatic failure. That it means going backwards, that it means becoming the problem. When they see Black people taking up space, demanding justice, organizing, protesting, taking pride in being unapologetically Black, they reject it. Because they, like most of us, have been taught to fear what you don't know. And if you've never been allowed to know your own history, to embrace your Afro roots, to unlearn that colonial shame, then yeah, of course you'll see Blackness as a threat instead of freedom. So no, we're not going to group all Latinos together. We can't. But we are going to talk about the history, the erasure, the fear. Because some of y'all aren't choosing Trump, you're choosing distance. Distance from Blackness, distance from yourselves. But what you're running from might just be your key to liberation. And if we don't talk about that, we're not building bridges, we're building silence. And I refuse to be quiet about it.
Who needs to hear this and how many times I need to say it? But I just want to let you guys know that when Black people make something, they make a film or a TV show, and Latinos come out and say, well, what about when will Latinos get a turn? When will Latinos get a turn? That it's inherently racist, and especially because it plays into the erasure of Afro-Latinos. Black Latinos do exist, they really do. And most of us only find our representation in Black films because Latinos won't allow anyone darker than a sheet of printer paper to star in any of their Latino stuff. Let someone who looks like Karol G be the face of Latin America and then fuss and whine when Black people make their own shit. You fuss and whine about representation and wanting Latino representation, and then when a Black Latino like Jharrel Jerome's wins an Emmy, right? And then you whine about how no Latinos win Emmys, and everyone's like, well, what about Jharrel Jerome? And then you go, well, not a Black one. We obviously didn't mean a Black one. And ironically enough, it's really funny because in Sinners, I kept thinking, hey, the number one problem here in this film is that the Black people were too understanding, too compassionate, and too welcoming to strangers, right? They should have never let Haley Steinfeld's ass in there. And they let her in there out of the good graces of trying to show someone compassion, even though white people had never shown them compassion in return. And you are literally doing that right now, asking and demanding that Black people be open and compassionate and share their spaces and their stages with you, even though when the foot is on the other side and you're making a Latino anything, you don't invite Black people. You don't make sure, let's make sure that we have Black people representation. You don't do that. 50 movies starring all white people come out a year, and it's quiet, and it's not until Black people do something that all of a sudden Latinos want something too. How dare the Black people do it and not give it to us first? Don't care, and you don't dare to ask the white man for shit, but you sure will demand something from the Black people.
I haven't seen Sinners, okay? Don't get on. But people are tagging me in videos of Latinos talking about, what about us? What about you? What about you? Let's be real. What the fuck about you? If you wanted to make a movie like Sinners, you need to find you a Latino producer and a Latino backing with money, a Latino full cast, and make the fucking movie. I'm sick of every time black people do something for black people and make ways for black people, other fucking races are talking about, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. What the fuck about y'all? You want some shit? Go make that shit happen. Stop looking for black people to pick up everybody off the fucking ledge. Damn, y'all can't let us have shit. Every time I turn around, it's another fucking race bitching and complaining about what black people aren't doing for them. Get your shit together. Get your people together. Get the fuck up. Find the money. Find the grants. Make your own fucking way. Haven't we done enough for y'all asses? Okay, I'm going back to bed.
And yes, and what happened in the last election was a chapter, or I want to be recognized as a white, but I'm just voting against my own interests, okay? And I'm just voting for people that are white supremacy. I think they didn't understand the scoop of what it was coming towards the United States with these white supremacists in power. Okay, first, the three people they promote, okay, in certain way, they promote or they donated for the campaign of Donald Trump. All these people are related to the apartheid, or they live the apartheid in South Africa in certain way. Okay, this is not funny. This is not a joke. This is serious thing. Okay, these people are white supremacists. And the last video where the Asian guy is talking to the white guy, he's just saying we're just gonna try to delay the more that we can, because we're just gonna become a minority, and if we will become a minority, we're gonna lose all power. So he was like clearly, and he was able to say in a clear way what was this Trump election all about for them. Okay, the more that they feel that they can express themselves, they just gonna keep saying it clear and loud. Okay, this wasn't about egg prices. This wasn't about this was about we white people, as he said, to stay in the majority for the longest amount of time, because the birth rate is in decline in Europe. Okay, for white people in Europe, and Germany is feeling it. The Italians are feeling it. France is feeling it. Okay, they are not having enough kids, and that's why the population is in decline. And also to here in the United States, because the rates of children's birth by black or Hispanic is just higher rate the white people. The how many kids the white or Asians are giving birth. Okay, please don't forget giving a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel to grow and helps other people to find my content and my video. Thank you.